not many people could say that they have a movie about themselves. But in
Wow.
2017, your life story and book was adapted into a film. And I have to ask you, what is it like to share that much of yourself and your work in such a personal way, but in such a different medium?
Well, first, it's surreal. It's an odd thing to walk onto a movie set and you see somebody there who is playing you, and to step into scenes that are based on a book that you wrote, and they have replicated that scene with great effectiveness. So much so that you think you're time traveling. You have to ask yourself for just a moment, so what time am I in? Am I in the current time or in a past time? Here's the other way I would answer that question. And I think this answer is true for any of us who have this whisper in our heart that says, I need to share, I need to do more, I need to say more. Had I known how important my life journey was to so many people, I would have done it a lot sooner. For people to step into a movie theater, in this case, pull up one of their streaming applications and see a journey that is not exactly like theirs, but shares mutual chapters, and to be inspired by it, that's very humbling. And it's a privilege. In working with the producers, I was not necessarily focused on the shine of it, the affect and, red carpets and all of that. I was really thinking of the 12, 13-year-old version of me, because had I seen a movie like that when I was 12 or 13 years old, that would have affirmed that whisper in my own heart that this life was not always going to be this way. And that was my primary audience, actually. And so to see time and time again what it means and what it has meant to so many others, it's humbling. Yes, it's a privilege. Yes, but it also sits on this higher plane, because what it says to me unequivocally is that the reason that I came through those storms intact was not for me, wasn't for me. It was clearly so that it might be a small example of what's possible. So to that end, I'm not exceptional, nor am I an exception. I'm more of a reflection of what really is possible.
I think that so many other people would get caught up in the publicity and the image. And I love that for you, the message comes first.
Always has, always will. But remember where that comes from. It comes from what is on the other scale. So yes, there is certainly that element of shine, but it's very shallow, to be transparent. I mean, I find it to be shallow. I find it to be fleeting. There's something that is on the other scale that's much heavier, much more important, and that is about impact. It would be a betrayal of those who stepped into my life to be focused on the shine when the impact and their impact in particular was the real story. And so when I'm placing my focus on those human lighthouses is very purposeful, because I'm trying to inspire others to do the same, to make sure they know that you don't need to wait for somebody else to be that. And you don't need to ask anybody's permission, and you don't need to have a lot of money, and you do not need to go get another degree. You just have to be a human being. And in that humanity, see that there are common chapters of each other's life that we all have. And those common chapters have very little to do with the labels of race, gender, religion, politics. There's this deeper human experience of love and loss and faith and fortitude and new beginnings that really does touch all of our life. If I can have a conversation of proximity with you and begin that conversation by believing that there's something you and I have in common. We might be of different races, faiths, generations, politics, and those things exist as they are. But those differences aren't the most important thing. It's that common thread. So maybe you and I are first in our family to go to college. Maybe you and I are both orphans. Maybe you and I both come from families with military histories. If I enter into any situation believing that that exists, that common thread exists, then it means now that our job, your job, our job is to find that common thread. I think there'd be a lot more healing in the world.